It was a normal, boring day in winter 2015. I was at home and had nothing else to do that day since the snow was so heavy. So I told my mom that I was going for a walk with my dog. I decided to take him for a 5-minute walk to the field near our house. And when we got there, the place was totally empty. I couldn't see anyone walking around, but I didn't mind though. So we started walking again for more than 5 minutes. Then all of a sudden, I heard something. It was kind of like someone was moaning. I looked around to see where this sound was coming from. And at that moment, I saw it. There was a man wearing a dark black trench coat with his hood up and winter boots. Being frightened, I quickly ducked behind a tree, hoping that he didn't see me. I laid down flat and ordered my dog to hide. He lay in the snow, digging his mouth into it. The man stood there for a while, and then he slowly walked off. A few minutes later, when I couldn't hear his feet anymore, I quietly got up and said to my dog, "Come." He followed me, and by this time, I heard the creepy moan again behind me. I was terrified. I hesitated at first, but slowly turned around to see what was going on. Well, I hope no one ever has to go through something like this, because what I saw at that moment became the worst nightmare I've ever had in my whole life. He was there. He stood there staring at me, but this time, he wasn't alone. There was also a woman next to him, and now they both had large knives in their hands. Especially, I could see that the woman was covered in blood, and her bright smile was spreading across her face like she was insane. I started running away, calling my dog to follow me. I was almost halfway to the field, but then I accidentally fell to the ground and landed on a broken beer bottle, which penetrated the side of my leg. It was painful, but there was no time, so I used all my strength to pull out the broken piece. I managed to pull it out, but after that, it was hard to get up and run. I struggled to crawl on the field, spreading blood in the snow. I knew that it was definitely visible to them, and they soon found me. The woman got close to me. "Leave me alone!" I shouted to them, hoping that someone would hear my voice for help, but no one was around. All of a sudden, my dog got in front of me and started growling at the woman. And when she kneeled down to stab me, he instantly jumped up and bit her neck. She yelled and swung around the knife on him. When my dog collapsed, injured on the ground, an uncontrollable anger surged up within me. I got up, grabbed her knife, and stabbed her side. I started to choke her, but then a sharp pain penetrated on my back, and when I fell to the ground, I could see the man was standing behind me. I thought I was going to die. And in those few seconds, when I was about to close my eyes, bang! His arm was blown off. It was my neighbor living next to our house. He was holding a shotgun in his hand. He told me later that he'd went hunting, and when he visited the field, he heard my voice. His hunting dogs rushed up to the man and bit into his shoulder. After that, my neighbor got to me and tried to help me to stand up, but I told him to help my dog first instead of me. Then I finally blacked out. When I woke up again, I was in the hospital. My family was standing next to me with my neighbor. He told me that after I blacked out, the police arrived with an ambulance and that my dog was taken to the veterinary clinic and survived by a miracle. A few minutes later, a policeman came to report the information that the man who attacked me had been arrested, but the woman had died from shock. And it turned out that they were serious criminals, and when they were sent to the mental institution, he had escaped with the woman. After that, my neighbor lost the right to own a weapon because he shot at a person. But he didn't care though. He just told me that he did the right thing to save someone's life. And he also said that he's just glad I'm alive. Well, I'll never forget about this incident, ever. And I will always thank my neighbor and my dog for saving my life.